So for this week's topic, I chose an article from the American College of Sports Medicine, and that article outlined 10 tips for dealing with nutrition in athletes particularly. And so just to go over what the article said, number one was to focus on long-term health and not just health that is beneficial for your sport now, but how will that affect you in your future. Talking about energy in, energy out, so being able to properly fuel yourself before a sporting event so that you can perform to your fullest, and then going along with that, focusing on proper nutrition prior to your activity. Number 4 is being properly hydrated and the importance of that in your nutrition. 5 was just as important as nutrition prior to your performance, also being able to have post-performance nutrition that is beneficial and will fuel your body up for what you just lost. 6 was focusing on body composition and not just weight, so focusing on your fat as opposed to muscle density. 7 was before you practice any new strategies, you should have time before you're about to perform, so you shouldn't try something new right before a game or performance, and see how your body reacts to those changes. 8 was things that you're doing now can be beneficial for your life forever, so focusing on proper nutrition now can be a benefit in your future. 9 was to be specific for what works for you. So there are so many guidelines out there that aren't necessarily gender specific or age specific, so really focusing on what is going to be the best for you and your own body and how you're performing in your sport. And then number 10 was just because you're getting older doesn't mean that your performance has to decline. So proper nutrition can be a way to combat that in some aspect. So this is information that I would use with a client that has come to me that's obviously an athlete, and something that I would be an initial meeting. So just showing them just basic goals that are general for everyone. And then after we went over these basic principles, going into more specific goals and how it can apply to their life specifically and how we can implement those tips in their everyday life and how it reacts to their sport. And so I chose this material just because I was an athlete growing up, and so I have a passion for athletes and being able to work with athletes, especially with nutrition. That's something that's always been interesting to me. So this is just helping athletes achieve their goals like now for their performance, but also achieving them for the future and how it can affect them like lifelong. And then from a biblical standpoint, 1 Corinthians 6:19 through 20 says, "Or do you not know your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit within you, whom you have from God? You are not your own, for you were bought at a price." So this is just showing that our bodies are a temple and they're not our own. So I'd use this and show my client that we're not doing it to glorify our own selves, but we're doing it to glorify God, and the way that we fuel ourselves and the way we perform can be a way to honor and glorify Him.